The winner of the national selection, Eurovision, in Ukraine MARUV will not participate in the competition due to the fact that the national broadcaster questioned her patriotism, writes the New York NewsBay. However, the public and the team of the singer had been unable to agree on the terms of the contract even after she agreed to give up solo concerts in Russia. Subsequently, Ukraine announced that this year's participation in the competition will not. According to a teacher of the history of the 20th century, the University of Hull, Catherine Baker, debate about whether artists on the role of cultural diplomat to your country is quite typical for the national selections for Eurovision. The Ukrainian national broadcaster has done a great disservice. MARUV could all of you praise. Concludes the journalist, the founder of the blog about the Eurovision, William Lee. Unfortunately, the acrid smell of corruption in high offices, that was kept until independence, lack of transparency and the influence of oligarchs in the government and business have not gone away, he adds. According to the correspondent of the publication, 3 key contenders to be the next president of Ukraine are cause for concern. We are talking about the leaders of opinion polls, Petro Poroshenko, Yulia Tymoshenko and Vladimir Zelensky. None of them inspire confidence that depart from the habit to hold on to way affiliated with the oligarchs of power, which is deeply rooted in Ukrainian traditions, writes Tony Barber. The current President Poroshenko, Explorer Financial NewsBay, calls the oligarch billionaire the party leader. Batkivshina, Tymoshenko is a populist, but the comedian Zelensky said that he enjoys the frustration of Ukrainians in system policies. Now the country faces the challenge to maintain progress after the current elections, which risk creating new obstacles for the new government, instead of having to remove them, concludes the analyst Financial NewsBay. Guardian writes that the main candidate to win the Ukrainian race, comedian Vladimir Zelensky. The publication refers to the polls, according to which the actor is almost 10% ahead of its political opponents. Refuting reproaches of journalists about the relations with the businessman Igor Kolomoisky, he calls himself the new face of Ukrainian politics, and says that he is against the old elite. The Guardian quoted Ukrainian political analyst Vladimir Fesenko, who says that Ukrainians want to see corrupt officials behind bars, and the campaign Zelensky is based on this. Despite the popularity among the Ukrainians, the fact remains that the candidate on a post of the head of state lacks political experience. His meeting with European diplomats over fiasco, the newspaper writes. Is this a joke? Some of its policy provisions look good on paper, but when it comes to discussion, he is not able to discuss the direction of its policy, the Guardian quotes one of the diplomats who were present at the meeting. According to some analysts, with the approach of election day positions, Zelensky can become loose, as it deals with politicians who have more experience in how to campaign. I think the plan was to create a great show, almost a reality show, and hype around you. But now he's a favorite, the race head. And all they say about him. Before the election, anything can happen, but while he's ahead, concludes the Guardian, said Fesenko. If we fall in love for different reasons but remain with your partner is determined by a gene, which is responsible for the release in the body oxytocin, the so-called hormone of love, writes the Daily Mail, citing the results of research specialists. As a result of tests which have made 178 married couples, the researchers came to the conclusion that those spouses who have one of the partners has a gene that encodes the oxidate protein, which is responsible for oxytocin, live together longer. Research has shown that what we feel in our intimate relationships is determined not only by experience, which we purchased jointly with a partner for a certain period of time. In marriage, both partners are also influenced by genetic characteristics of their parents and of their own, quotes the edition of the author's studies professor at Yale University Joan Monin.